All right, so today we're going to work on the upper part of the window and the lower part of the window. So we have here titanium buff or unbleached titanium, yellow ochre or yellow oxide, whatever you have, and raw umber. So I'm going to start with the top part. I'm going to mix yellow ochre with some raw umber, and I'm using a flat brush, medium size, not too big, and also or a bright. Okay, so I'm darkening a bit the yellow ochre, and I placed masking tape where the wall is, and I'm just going to cover this here, this part. Shouldn't take long. We will add some darks after to make it look like it's weathered. It's old. It has, it has a bit of pattern in there. Right. Again. Just filling for now. We will paint the pattern on it after, and the highlights. Okay, let's go down to the bottom part. Bottom part is going to be a little bit lighter, so just instead of doing for the bottom part, actually let's do the same. Just add the same. We will highlight the bottom part more, but for now, first layer, same. There's no need for a lot of detail. But once we start highlighting and darkening, then we will add some more extra lines. But for now, we're just filling. Okay. Now for the inside, right here, we're just going to fill it, leaving some lines in between, which we'll use maybe a bit of a dark titanium buff. All right. All right, I'm going to pause for a minute. So now I'm highlighting. So with the highlight, I'm using titanium buff and raw umber. So I'm taking titanium buff, putting raw umber in titanium buff, and touch of the yellow ochre. Now, this part right here seems to be a little bit lighter, this part here, and this one here is darker. I think just trying to show that this part here is in the shadow area and this one here has a light area. So for the light area, I'm adding more titanium buff. Just more titanium buff, just like this. And then when I get to the area where there's a shadow area, I'll just add more of the raw umber right there into the titanium buff, like this. Now let's do the same at the bottom. So I'm going to take titanium buff, and this titanium buff has raw umber in it. And I'm just going to go in and then add. And because we changed, we are kind of change the design. We don't have too many lines in there, tiny lines. It will look a little bit different, but you'll see in a minute I will be adding some shadows. But for now, I'm just highlighting. And then go like that. Let's add a bit of yellow ochre in here. Titanium buff, yellow ochre, and touch of the raw umber. And as soon as I get to the left side, I start adding raw umber, more raw umber in here. There. So this is just kind of highlighting what we have, going over the first layer. This one here, it's like more of a, it looks kind of more weathered in here. So I'm going to take a little bit more of the raw umber mixed with titanium buff. Once it's dry, I will put this kind of interesting texture over what I'm doing right now. I see a little bit more of yellow ochre with raw umber on this side, left side. Let's do this here too, so it doesn't like disconnect. It doesn't look disconnected. Now, I'm going to take just raw umber, push it out into a little bit of, put a bit of raw umber and lots of raw umber actually, and yellow ochre, but more raw umber. I'm gonna go dark. And I'm going to put shadow underneath, between each one of these lines, those layers.
It's just raw umber, you say?
Raw umber with a touch of yellow ochre.
Okay. Okay.
It's the shadow, a shadow of the stone. So the stone is kind of yellow ochre, and the raw umber is the shadow of the stone. So that's why I'm adding yellow ochre into the raw umber. Okay, another one here. Now this is kind of dry right now, this part. And this is where the deep, long, big shadow is. And let's, with a dry brush that has raw umber on it, drag some brush strokes down. That's good. We can glaze this kind of same raw umber with yellow ochre on this side if we want. Just glaze a bit. And we'll leave it at that. And then we'll move on to the lower part. Now I would kind of maybe adjust the wall a bit, or that top part, with titanium buff, yellow ochre, and a touch of some of this raw umber that I have here. With a round brush, come to this part and show a little bit of yellow, kind of earthy yellow in certain areas. So, and it doesn't have to look, it should look weathered, old. All right. Let's add a little bit of that same here. This combination of yellow ochre, titanium buff, and raw umber. Okay, it's good for the top part. We don't need more than this. We're gonna move on to the lower part, and I'll just pause it for a minute. All right, so now bottom part, same idea, a little bit more highlights maybe with the titanium buff, but I always go first with a kind of a medium tone that's not really highlighted too much. And I'm just gonna kind of dab irregular brush stroke, kind of, to show.
It's the same next then.
Yeah, right there. Yeah, so it's not kind of. And again, same here. I'm just gonna highlight, leave a dark line between each one of these layers. All right, let's go across this way. It's kind of a dry brush. Dab a bit the pattern on. Make it look weathered. And let's go like this here. And again, this is dry brush. I'm just skimming over. Again, load my brush and skim. Leave a bit of shadow underneath her hand. And Again, skim. Now let's do the inside. Leave a dark line. All around. Of course, I might have to go back and adjust this texture. Now, let's take more. I just wet my brush a bit. And let's put a highlight, one line here that shows lighter color. And just on that one here. And then I'm going to wipe my brush a bit and then again drag a bit of color down. Again, dry brush, kind of a glaze. And here too, leaving a line in between. For shadows, so they don't look like they're stuck together, these two lines. Gives you a hint of a pattern, not a pattern actually. It looks like it's two stones, two levels. Okay, again. Same idea. Let's leave a dark line in between. And then just kind of with your dry brush, add some texture. Now at this point, if I want, I can go back, take a bit of raw umber, and just add shadow underneath with raw umber, kind of like a glaze. Enhance this part where the shadow is. Again. Okay. We can put as many lines as we want if we, if we want to make it a little bit more intricate, or just keep it just the way it is. We could like add with a round brush, let's say another line right here, right there, with raw umber, just raw umber, more like a glaze. If we want a little bit more detail. Or just leave it just the way it is. It's really not the focal point. Let's take, I think that's enough. Good. We don't need to do more than that. Next week we'll work on the shutters. All right, so this is the last part of today's session. I added a couple of details right here. So just to give it a bit of interesting look. Next week we will continue.